right, have a seat if you would, after all that pep. We're going to go into a heavy conversation probably, and that's okay. Kind of set it up that way. That third song we sang of You're the God Who Stays is really kind of the gist of this message in a song, if we can. But if you want to, we have a couple verses we're going to look at. We'll do Philippians chapter 4 to start with, just as a jumping off point. Then we're going to go to Psalm 139 and look at that. I have begun a prayer in my life this week, and I'm going to do the best I can today to make sure we don't do group counseling instead of preaching and sharing, because I could do group counseling with you. At least I could lead a group counseling session. I don't know how you join in. But anyway, and I've started a prayer this week of, God, I want to know the Psalm 139 person you created me to be. What an interesting prayer to just begin to go, God, I want to know the Psalm 139 person you created me to be. And we're going to walk through some of that today, but that's just enough to start. Maybe that's something you begin. I have started some really specific habits. I know lots of times in life we'll talk in church about a quiet time and reading your scripture and your prayer life and all those things. All those things are good. But God calls us to more than that, because it's not just about 15 minutes or 5 minutes in the morning. It's not just about a prayer before a dinner. All those things are useful. It's about a walking, talking, living relationship with God in the kingdom in which He is established as a king and allows you to be a part of that kingdom as a child of God and a member of His very own household. That should blow your mind and make you go, I want to know more about that. What does that look like? How do I live in that kingdom? So we've been doing this kingdom life for a while, and we'll, as long as God allows, we'll keep doing it. We should do it every day. But some of the habits I've just developed, and I'm just going to kind of lay a foundation for you, is asking some questions. One is, God, what do I need to know? That simple. Nothing more profound than that, except for I am facing a situation. I am facing a circumstance. I am going into a relationship. I am going into a conversation. I need to speak to somebody about this, or I need to do that. What do I need to know? And then listen by His Spirit to the things that He tells me. And oftentimes the first thing that comes to my mind, or there's times I've gone, well, it didn't seem like I got anything, but then all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, there's a thought that I know is not mine. That I go, where did that? Oh, well, I asked you 20 minutes ago, what do I need to know? Okay, is that what and then begin to let that develop. And then based on that, what do I need to know when I hear, God, what do I need to do? What would you have me do in response to what I now know? Very simple. Not making life more complicated or the kingdom more complicated than that. Because Philippians 4 says this, listen, 4:4, rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. The Lord is near. That's enough. The Lord is near. And I have begun to try and live in that situation that every time I wake up, you are near. When I go to sleep, you are near. When I am in trouble or I am anxious, you are near. When I don't know what to do, you are near. When I am scared, you are near. When I am over my head and drowning or overwhelmed and don't know how to even just get up and do the next thing, you are near. When I fail you and I am in sin and I have chosen to disobey and do things my own way, you are still near. You are still near. That's what Scripture says over and over again. And we'll see that in Psalm 139, but we're building off what we did last week of rejoice in the Lord always. And again, I say rejoice. How do we get to do that? Because He's near. If I'm going to rejoice in every situation, every circumstance, I better know something about my God. And that knowledge is that He's near. I am never alone. I have not been separated. I have not been cast out. He is not run from. He is waiting with arms open wide. He wants to speak. He wants to speak. I think so many of us think He doesn't. He wants to speak, and here's the reality. He is always speaking. Look at what Jesus says over and over again. Let them have ears. Let them have ears hear. Let them who have eyes see. It's not that He wasn't speaking to everybody. It's that some would listen and some wouldn't. It's not that everybody couldn't see that Jesus was there. It was that some could see that He was Messiah and some couldn't. And so the issue is not that God isn't speaking. He's always speaking. And it's not that he's not near, because he's always near. The question is, are we tuned in to what he's saying and where he is and where he's leading? Am I spending a daily habit over and over again throughout the day just going, God, you're sitting right beside me. Why wouldn't I ask you what you think about this? Why wouldn't I ask you what you want me to do in this situation? You're sitting right beside me. I'm surrounded by your presence. Why wouldn't I inquire of God? Remember this, because some of y'all weren't here when I said this. This is a profound statement. Write this down. You may have already done it, but this is, you can build your life off this. David asked two questions, or two different things in David's life happened on a regular basis. Read through the Psalms, read through Samuel, read through whatever you want to in that situation. There were two different things that David did. One is, it would say, David inquired of the Lord. Whenever David inquired of the Lord, you know what happened? He was victorious in everything he did. The other thing what David would do was think to himself. And every time he thought to himself, it fell apart in his life. So even just that simple thing today, go, I'm going to quit thinking to myself about all this kind of stuff. If Jesus is near and the Lord is near and the Spirit is in me and I'm a child of God and he wants his kingdom to be lived out through me and he wants me to be a part of that kingdom, why wouldn't I just inquire of the Lord? Versus just, well, let me see if I can figure this one out. You know, I hadn't figured out the last 10. Let's see if I can figure this one out. Does that make sense? And let that, whatever he says, even if it doesn't make sense, be what you do. So that you get to see him in a way nobody else does. We've done those sermons. You can look back through YouTube if you want to, if we'll ever get them up there. But anyway, the Lord is near. So then, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, through prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Again, if you recognize he's near, you don't have to be anxious. If you recognize, wait, I am not doing this alone. I am not by myself. He has not forgotten me. It's not that he doesn't care about me. It's that I am in a situation that I need to rely on him more. And he loves situations like that. He loves situations where I have to depend on him. He loves situations where he's the only way out. He loves situations where his voice is the only one I need to hear in the midst of all the noise. And again, if you train yourselves to do it now when it is not difficult, then when the crisis comes, you'll be able to do it then. What are some daily habits you can begin to do? Okay, I say all that to say this. Another daily habit I've begun doing about at least 2 months ago. It started 6 months ago, but it wasn't a daily habit. It was just a spiritual exercise, okay? And that's okay. Sometimes you start with a spiritual exercise just to see, is this going to make any difference or not? God, does this work? Does this not work? I'm trying to, the Bible says test and see, and taste and see, and so let's come try this on. And so it began as a spiritual exercise that was profound in my life, that has become a daily habit that I'm finding just now. It was profound as I went, but now it is, now I understand, I think. Now I see. I didn't understand why we were doing this every day. Now I begin to see and understand, okay? With that in mind, the daily habit is this, and it's one again, adopt it, don't adopt it, try it, don't adopt it, do it as a daily exercise, do it as a spiritual exercise once and see what happens. Up to you. Up to you. But here's what I've begun doing. Every morning I wake up and I start off with, God, what do I need to know? God, what do I need to know? And there are things he'll begin to show me about myself. There are things he'll begin to show me about who I am and the things that I do in life that either he is pleased with or he is not pleased with. Oftentimes it starts with that which he is not pleased with. And that is okay, because that's why I'm coming to him. It's because I want to be more like him, because I want to experience him more, and I want to be more of his kingdom. I want to be in it. I don't want to deny this gift he's given. And all these things we've talked about, I want to walk in them. I want to see and experience him in a way that others don't get to. So, man, I'm willing. I'm willing. God, what do I need to know? And what he has done, and this little habit has begun to do this. There oftentimes is a, Brett, you don't desire this portion, this part, this element of your nature, character, or your life anymore. Just something I don't like. And it's not, it could be anxiety. It could be that general. It could be a specific anxiety. It could be a sin and a temptation. It could be an addiction. It could be a habit. It could be a anger. It could be bitterness, rage, malice, jealousy. It could be greedy. It could be cowardice. All these things are told that those things will keep you out of the kingdom. Well, God, I want to be in the kingdom. And I don't think they keep you out of heaven because His grace is enough to cover all those things. I think they keep you from experiencing the kingdom when you're in it. If He has brought me by His salvation and grace into the kingdom, but yet I am still jealous, I want to experience Him in my relationships. If I am still greedy, I want to experience Him in my finances, in my heart, in that generosity. If I am still anxious, I want to experience His peace that He died to give me. Does that make sense? If I am angry, if I am bitter, rage, He brought that. That was this week. I got to deal with that one. God, I just want to bring my anger to you. He goes, fantastic. Let's also bring rage, malice. Let's bring some greediness. He just threw all of Ephesians chapter 2 at me, and I was like, fantastic. Let's deal with it. Because it's here. It's here. Let's deal with it. I don't want to miss you in these areas of my life anymore, so I bring Him. So what you do is begin, or what I've done, you do what you want to do, is, God, what do I need to know? Brett, here's some things that you know you don't want to be a part of your life anymore. And they go, you're right. And here's the reality, you don't want them to be a part of my life anymore. And I always know that because the Spirit will bring scriptures to my mind that counteract those things in my life. Just like I said, he brought Ephesians 2. Technically, I think it's Ephesians 3, to me this week, and I went, oh. I wanted to just kind of gloss over that as one thing. It's a whole bunch of things that are in my heart that I don't want in my heart because they pour out on other people, and I don't want to be a part of that. That's not your kingdom. So there's scriptures that come. So because they are not only things I don't want to be a part of, and things that He has affirmed He doesn't want to be a part of my life, then what I do, and I do this very visual in my brain, I can see God in front of me is light, love, truth. That's the picture. It's just how do I visualize perfect love as light that reveals everything. That's how I visualize it. You can visualize it however you want to, but bring it to God, bring it to truth, bring it to light, and say, what is the truth of this situation? Well, here's the reasons I don't want it to be in your life. Okay, cool. Fantastic. So now, would you cast that out? And really, would you take that away from me? Would you remove it from my soul, from my spirit, from my mind? The way I do that is I go, this thing that has been brought into light because it's not of God, then it's of something else. You can say it's of Satan. You can say it's of your own flesh. You can say it's whatever. But I don't want it anymore, so you go wherever He tells you to go. His authority removes it. His authority does with it what He wants to. I'm not in charge of that. Whenever I've tried to say, okay, now I'll stop doing that. Okay, I don't want that in my life anymore. It just sits right there and looks at me and comes at me even stronger often. I don't have that authority. He does. So you go wherever Jesus tells you to go. Jesus, I agree with you. That is the power. I agree with you that this is not something you want to be a part of my life. So please remove it. Whatever that looks like to you, remove it. Now, because you have done that, in Scripture it says it's really important for us to replace those things with something else. Jesus said it this way. If a demon is cast out of somebody, you can't just cast it out into the wilderness and leave that person without replacing it with something, or that demon will then come back with 7 others and return to that house that has not been swept clean. And the condition of that person will be significantly worse than it was before. So you can't just say, go away. You got to say, okay, cool, now that that's gone, what is the truth that you want me to put in place of that in my life? So not only do these scriptures say you don't want this to be a part of my life, these scriptures say this is the truth you do want to be a part of my life. I do want to love my enemies. I do want to pray for those who persecute me. I do want to pray for those who are just struggling and need to see you and know you. I do want to lift them up. I want to take my time, my effort, my energy, and care for somebody besides myself. Does that make sense? So put those things in that place. Put truth in my heart and life, in the thing that you just removed that you didn't want. What is it that you do want? Put that in my life. Now, the reason I tell you all that is because now, after about 60 days of that, there is a point I came to this week that I would like to talk to you guys about in Psalm 139. Okay? Listed as, in this message, our greatest desire / greatest fear. They are the same thing. And my guess is, when I say it, you're going to go, oh yeah, that's true. What is your greatest desire? What is the human being's greatest desire? What is every child's greatest desire? What is every adult's greatest desire? What is every spouse's greatest desire? Every friend's greatest desire? Every sibling's greatest desire? It's real simply stated, and we've done a lot of research in our world to know this. It is to know and to be known. There is something at the core of every single one of us that really wants to be known. That really wants to be known, wants to really be known, wants to really be able to walk into a room and go, here's all of me. The light illuminates all of it, and I am seen completely for who I am and who God created me to be. And here's the other side of that, and accept it. And accept it. But here's our problem. That hasn't always been our reality. So that which we desire is also our greatest fear. Of if I am truly known, you would never accept me. If I am truly known, and when I know myself, I think I'm terrible. What would you think of me? Am I the only one? When I know myself, I feel unworthy, so you must think I'm unworthy. When I know myself, I don't think I'm good enough, so you must not. That's a human condition, right? But it is our desire. Think about it. How much do we want to just be known and accepted for who we are? 100%. Now here's the beauty. God does that for us. God does that for us. And that is Psalm 139, and we're going to get there. He does that for us. But even with him, we're afraid. Even with him, we're a lot of times not honest. Even with him, there's a lot of times we put up barriers. Because here's the other side of that story, and this is the group counseling. You ready? That wasn't the group counseling. Wait for this. In my own personal life, and this is part of my journey, it may or may not be yours, but I hope it's helpful to you. By the way, standing here today, there is a feeling at my core of genuineness and truth. Okay? There has been, for the majority of my life, a sense of, well, if they really knew. So I will present a palatable side of myself. I will present a more socially acceptable side of myself. I will present a portion of me that is better than the real me. And what I've started to call this is the little red flag. I should have brought a little red flag. That would have been really smart. So you could remember this. I'm not going to surrender the white flag. Let me see your glasses, Kate. Because I think this is worth you looking. Woo, look over here. Hey, look over here. Pay attention. Look at the good I did. Look at the right thing. Look at how much I've got for you. Do you know pastors are people? Do you know pastors have real struggles? Do you know pastors sin? There are so many times I've done a witnessing thing to kids that say pastors sin. They go, no, they don't. No, I promise we do. Do you know your mom and dad said, yes, we struggle. But what we'll do is say, hey, but whoa, no, just look over here. Look at this knowledge I have gained and understood. Don't look at all this stuff over here that I have no idea what it means. And I have no idea how to live it out. And even if I do know how to live it out, I'm choosing not to. Look over here. Look at that. See, it looks pretty good. I'll do this with my wife. Here's a good personal example, okay? I've probably actually done this. Hey, look over here. I cleaned the bathroom. I vacuumed the house. Don't pay attention that I treated you like garbage today. Don't pay attention that I snapped at you and I yelled at you because I have my own internal struggle that I feel awful about myself. And I took that on you because you're closest to me and I love you most. But instead of nurturing and caring for you, I just lashed out on you. But hey, don't bring that up. I vacuumed. I cleaned the bathrooms. Yay, me. Okay? So here's the foundation of this, and we may or may not get it. We'll just see where we go today. I realized from my own family, my dad was a disciplinarian and was not deeply a relationship guy, although he was good at 10 to 30-minute relationships. That's what I found out in life. He was really good at playing that game of connecting with you for 10 minutes and go, okay, who's next? And you 10 minutes, and who's next? That's just what his job almost demanded of him. And even his evangelism was a lot of that is, hey, if you don't, the next guy will accept. Next guy, we're going to roll through that. But what he did in discipline was painful. Now, some of you kids don't even know what that means. Some of you older folks know what that means. It wasn't emotionally painful. It was physically painful. It started here and ended about there. And it hurt really badly. And today, he would probably be in trouble for that. If somebody knew. Okay? He didn't mean it to be what it was. In that, I don't think. He at least didn't say the stupid thing of this hurts me worse than it hurts you, because that wasn't true. But here's the reality of what I realized as I look back at some of those things, I realized that would happen and discipline would occur, but the relationship was never restored. Now, because of that, I always restored the relationship. My parents restore the relationship. Discipline is necessary. It is necessary. But so is the intimacy of relationship and compassion and caring and grace and mercy. They are necessary. So after discipline, go back and restore the relationship. Because if you don't, the child will wonder what he did wrong and why you don't care. And then all this will happen, he or she. My sister and I had this conversation this week. All that will happen, and luckily a guy told me this several decades ago, that all spanking does, kids, y'all know that word spanking? All spanking does is teach you to hide better. There's some truth to that. Because it hurts, now I want to make sure you don't know. So, here's this over here. Don't pay attention to this over here. I don't need you. I'm going to hide all this. I'm going to try and see if I can get away with it. I'm going to pester my sister and hope you don't. I'm going to break things and not tell you. I'm going to lie about stuff. I'm going to try and hide. And that was the beginning of layers in my life as a kid. Okay? Then, because that was never restored, then what you begin to try and do, for me, is, well, now let me perform. If that didn't build the relationship and get the love and acceptance, now let me perform. Now, here's the reality. I was born into a family of very intelligent people. Short version is, all my siblings were valedictorian of high school. All 4 of them. I'm the youngest of 5. All of them were honors in college, magna, summa, whatever it was. I never even thought about those words. I graduated middle of my class. I was happy to graduate. I was born with dyslexia. I was born with ADHD. I was born with learning disabilities. So here's now the kid who is trying to hide and cover up the things he does wrong, but also when he performs knows he can never measure up to everybody else in the family. So what does that kid begin to do? He begins to cheat. He begins to lie. He begins to make it look like he's better. He tells his parents he's done his homework for 3 years of middle school when he never did a bit of his homework. Every day, you got your homework? Nope. Nope, don't. I already did it. But it didn't. I don't know how I got through that. Somehow, and because I'm a person, long before I was a pastor, don't listen to this, teenagers. I cheated my way through junior and senior high. I mean, not junior and senior high, junior and senior year of high school. Now, here's the crazy thing is with all those disabilities, I still was very smart. And I knew I was very smart. And I knew I could figure it out. And I knew I was okay because whether the grades showed it or not, and they didn't, I understood life and I knew how to get through it and I could survive. So I was okay with that. But after lying and cheating that long, you miss a few things. After lying and cheating that long, all of a sudden you don't know what you should have known for the next class, because you know Algebra 1 becomes Algebra 2, and Geometry becomes Geometry 2. And then I took Trig and Advanced Math. That was a bad choice. I'm good at math, but by that point I had no clue what was going on. Does that make sense? They made me take English. I wouldn't have taken English. Okay. Now here's the only redeeming of this, and I want you to know I did redeem some of this. After my senior year in high school, I never cheated on anything again. As far as college, seminary, they said they'd kick me out. I thought, oh, that's not good. And so I had to struggle, and I had to fight, and I had to scrap, and I had to learn, and I had to figure stuff out, and I had to catch up, and I had to whatever. It did not make things easier. Anyway, back to this story, layer upon layer. To then becoming, in my family, my dad was a pastor, missionary, denominational worker, vice president, International Mission Board for Southern Baptist was ultimately what we did last. So growing up in the church had its own layers. Can anybody else relate? You may not be able to relate to my dad and my upbringing, but my guess is if you're sitting here, you can relate to the layers that church brings to your life. Of not being known or being seen, but being told who you should be or how you ought to act or how you should perform. And all these, hey, look over here. Let me tell you, many of you did today. So how are you doing? I'm good. Don't pay any attention to my life's falling apart. Don't pay any attention that I'm bankrupt. Don't pay any attention I just lost my job. Don't pay any attention that my husband or my wife and I have been battling. Don't pay any attention that my child is strung out and I don't know how to help them. Don't pay any attention to the fact that I am angry all the time. I'm good. I'm here. Praise Jesus. Praise Jesus. I dressed up in everything. Dressed up and covered up. Right? Y'all may get to read Psalm 139 on your own today. We'll get there. But we do it, don't we? So you add to it a religious background and add to that a Southern Baptist religious background. And I am not against Southern Baptists at all, but I will tell you honestly, Southern Baptists are good at one particular thing. One is missions. 2 is guilt. They're really good at guilt. Really good at guilt. And so I spent the majority of my, all the way up to 20s, feeling bad about me. Feeling bad about what I did. Let's put some more layers on this. Now here's the crazy thing. In the midst of that, I began to feel called into doing ministry. Let's add another layer to that of performance. Of now you're the one in charge and supposed to act like you got it together. And supposed to have the answers to the questions people might ask about their eternity and about their spirit and about their struggle. And you don't. And you know you don't. And you don't have it together and you don't have all the answers. All you know is, I'm doing the best I can, and this kind of helped me one day. So let me give you that. Or here's the other one I've been drawing a lot on. Donald. God, I don't see it, I don't understand it, but I'm going to choose to believe it. I don't see it yet, I don't understand it, but I'm going to choose to believe it. I'm just going to stand on it. I'm just going to keep standing here until you move. I'm going to keep standing here until you show yourself. I am not going any farther, and I'm not ignoring it. I'm going to be right here. I can do that. Okay, but back to our story, layers, right? Can you see the layers? And here's the crazy thing is, even doing into that, go all the way back, let's go back to group counseling, still not accepted. Still not feeling significant. Still not feeling, hey, way to go. Man, I understand. Can we talk about that? What are you experiencing? What are you going through? None of that, just disconnected. So relationship never established no matter what I did. So I performed. I've spent a lifetime performing. And let me tell you something you already know. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. I just want to be known. And to know even who I am. It's not just to be known, because at this point I don't even know who I am. Does that make sense? Now here's the beauty of this. Is after 6 months, not 6 months, but 60 days of this little habit of confession. And I didn't even realize the big picture of what God was doing till this week. Where he goes, but every time you did that, I removed a layer. I removed a layer that wasn't genuine. I removed a layer that wasn't the truth that I believe about you or I created in you. I removed a layer of what you felt about somebody else instead of what I felt about you. I removed a layer, until finally this week I went, all that's left is a core. All that's left is wait, who am I? No pretense, genuine. Who am I and what I have to offer? Now here's the crazy thing, is the question I began to ask within that was, what do I have at the core of me that I want to magnify? What is at the core of me that's worth magnifying? Not hiding. I'm real good at hiding. I've hidden the core of me for my entire life. It started, and I showed you child all the way through. And the crazy thing is, and I'm going to tell you this, and I don't need your woe is me, I didn't find much. I still found some things that God goes, we've got to deal with these things. But at least now we're really dealing with what the core is, not just the superficial pretend version you've been. So let's deal with that. That's part of the Ephesians chapter 3. Here's the core. You have a lot of anger. Well, you can kind of see why, maybe. You have a lot of shoulds and oughtas and performance that leave you, yeah, okay, you can see why there's. But when there wasn't much, then I began to say, okay, God, what do you want to put there? Let's start over. Forget what's been developed for 56 years. What did you knit together in me to begin with? What is my Psalm 139 identity? Really? Not this, that does something for you or somebody else or my family, but is at the core of who I am and was created to be, that you want to magnify, that you want to bring out, that you want to express, that you want to expose, that you want to bring glory to yourself over. Okay, with that in mind, I got 6 minutes, so let's read through this. Thank you. 139. Here it is. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. That's where we're starting. He knows you, right? He does. And I think down at the core of us, we know he does. And I love being honest with God, but there's times I haven't been honest with myself in relationship to God. I can be honest with God, but you're doing a sucky job. And not really being honest with myself in relationship to God. Well, maybe I'm the one who's doing the sucky job, and you're standing right here beside me, and I just ignored you all this time. Does that make sense? But I know that I'm known and it's okay, and I know that he accepts me, so I confess regularly. And really, all this I've shown you of this picture of bringing things into truth, that literally is the picture of confession.